Hey,
Hello?
hey. So I'm the guy that popped in yesterday talking about the importance of humanities, but now today I'm talking about the importance of rejecting society.
Okay, so I'm not well versed on all of these terms and what it means to be. And are you unironically ANPRIM?
Yes, real shit.
Okay, so
Sorry.
just give me the most basic explanation of what you want to get across.
Oh, yes, sir. So we're gonna go into rhetoric first off because it's really hard to justify ANPRIM on a moral and economic, just basically anything except for a moral standpoint.
True.
So we're gonna go in by saying, do you believe that the government is working for you in every single way that you can justify?
Every single way? No, not absolutely.
Um, so do you believe that the government is so you don't believe that the government is working for you in every single way? And that to me is a justification for the disassemblage of the government.
But it's still
Um,
working in many regards, and it does uphold an important foundation for humanity to
yes,
survive.
yes, absolutely, and I agree too. But if you're going to concede to me that government isn't perfect, do you think that the government is working for you in the ways that you find to be successful in your everyday life?
Successful? Um,
Like, just basically, is the government working
Successful
for you?
relatively, yes, successful in the sense where we are still surviving with these institutional attacks on our institutions. Of course, I think things are relatively functioning in a decent way, but by government, you have to also look at local, state governments, county governments, federal
Oh yeah,
governments.
I mean top down.
Top
I mean,
down
especially from the
federally?
top down,
No,
like
federally is
it's your local government like successful.
local government. Right now, things are in a upward trend. So I would say, yes, right now.
That's good. I mean, I think that like obviously I'm arguing from the ANPRIM like anarchistic standpoint. And we talked a little bit about last night about how being from the Rust Belt, like the government really isn't on our backs, um, just a little bit.
Hmm.
So the next logical argument is that, do you think the society that like upholds the government that you believe is not working at optimal efficiency, do you think that the society is on your side?
By society, what do you mean?
By society, I mean the people that participate in local business, the society, the people that are voting, the society, the people that are communicating with you on a daily basis. Do you think that those people are upholding your values and upholding the values of the government that you strive for?
I think they are when it makes sense to conform and it benefits them themselves to conform to societal norms, the social contract. I think they relatively are keeping that pretty tight.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you. For the most part, I would not concede that the majority is listening to what you want to listen to, but
No.
society as a general conforms to rule of law, the just the general societal norms that you would subscribe
Yeah,
to.
it makes sense for business and everything. It makes sense for personal profit. It makes sense for personal relationships, financial well-being, and psychological well-being. All that stuff.
Well, we're not talking about business. Like
Well, that's why they
um,
uphold what they do. They don't do it because they agree with it, and I don't do what I do because I agree with everything. But
I mean, I think so too. And like I know you have your platform because you're a businessman, but all of these people that are, you know, conscribing to the beliefs that you may or may not agree with, or they are subscribing to the beliefs that you absolutely do not agree with. Like, do you think that you owe an obligation to participate in the system that you don't believe in and that you don't subscribe to.
An obligation in the sense that I owe it something?
That you owe it everything.
Owe
You
it
owe it a vote, you owe
everything.
it taxes, you owe it your money and your time and your labor.
I just see it as transactional. I do things for society, society does things for me, and my input gets good outputs.
Yeah, okay. So I think we're on the same page here. And I just came across like ANPRIM semi-recently, and I don't agree to all aspects of ANPRIM. Like, I think a lot of people are LARPing. But so you have said that you don't agree with everybody that participates in your system, and you don't agree with the people that represent you. And even if we move to like a straight democracy, like those people wouldn't be representing your system. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just why not give it up?
What do you mean by give it up?
Like, I mean, give it all up. Like, even if like you could live in the house that you live in and you participate in the society that you participate in, like, why are you participating through taxes, through labor, through transactions with local businesses? Like, why are you expected to like contribute to that, a system that you don't believe in?
Because upholding this current order is what is going to guarantee survival for the most amount of people, and that means myself as well. If I didn't contribute to this system and my contribution lacking is a reason the system falls apart, that's going to come back to hurt me. Even if I decide I don't want to participate anymore, that system is going to have so many external effects that I simply cannot avoid.
All right, awesome. I got you in 2 trap cards. So
Oh no.
the people that you are the most ejected towards, like the QAnon, the people that stormed the Capitol,
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that are more likely than liberals, than socialists, than anybody north of zero on the political compass. Those are the people that are ANPRIM, or that would be incentivized to go ANPRIM. So removing those people from society would contribute to a more progressive society. Yeah.
If we removed neo-Nazis.
Well, I'm not attributing myself to neo-Nazis because I'm an anarchist.
But if
But
we removed
those people are more likely than not to go ANPRIM. Yeah.
Okay, who's more likely to?
Neo-Nazis,
Yeah, because
right
they don't
libertarians.
believe the society is gonna accept them, and this is why let me look it up. Aren't many cult leaders very adept to this ideology because they want to convince people that society doesn't accept them, and if they try to go back into society, it'll reject them because they are far too different to even participate in the system. Isn't that a big method of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not advocating for cult leadership or really anything. I'm advocating for this is kind of cringe, but going your own way, like just dropping society as it is as a whole, like dropping taxes, dropping the infrastructure that isn't contributing to you at all, and just running off into the woods, building your own house, doing your own thing. You know what I mean?
How am I supposed to build my own house if I don't have the materials for it? I enjoy being
You
clean
okay?
inside this world. I like my
That's very
house.
good. And I think everybody, as an anarchist, uh, should be a part of the system that they want to subscribe to. So this is a segment into the ANPRIM, because like all of this was rhetoric up until this point, but I'm talking like policy from here on. I think the government should, as a democratic society, I think the government should be able to support everybody that wants to do what they want, as long as it's not hurting other people's. And ANPRIM is the least harmful political ideology literally ever. because you're running into the woods and doing your own thing.
But the mental effect that has on people when they go completely ANPRIM and reject society seems to fester some very dangerous ideologies, even if you think it might help in the short term. People like Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, he went ANPRIM, and that's actually, he was a very left-wing terrorist, and that's actually when he went completely crazy, when he was alone, away from society, away from the orderly structure we see today.
Yeah, and I would agree. I completely denounce the Unabomber. Like, he wasn't a leftist, and I mean, he subscribed to a lot of left-wing ideology.
But if you reject this society, then if you're going to be deviant, there's different kinds of deviance. Like, you can't be deviant in the way that he is. You can't be deviant in the way that a neo-Nazi is. But if you're deviant in that you want to improve the society, that's a little bit different. But it seems that people who want to completely leave the society are acting immoral because that society and the system rules everything around us. So if you're not going to add your positive contribution to that, not only are you hurting yourself, but you're hurting the overall success of the world in general. If you're not going to be willing to participate in this system, if you're just going to wash your hands free of it and not even try to fix the issues with it, aren't you at a moral deficiency?
That is a legitimate argument. I think if you're going to drop society as a whole before leaving it a better place than when you left it, I think that is kind of cringe. Like, I think you should participate up until the point where it's not working for you, and then you drop out. Like, I don't think complete political like ununiformity, like just completely not engaging in it and then just leaving it as it is and using that as an excuse for your ANPRIM is not a legitimate argument. But for the people that participate in the government and for the people that participate in every social and economic activity that the government goes through, I think once that government, social, and economic structure doesn't work for you, I think it's legitimate for you to leave that and do your own thing.
Sorry, I was
in a libertarian society. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to repeat?
No, I was muted. My microphone was muted. I have like a touch sensor on here, so I hit it by accident. But now you can hear me.
Oh, my bad.
But this is the overall argument with if you are not going to participate in upholding a strong government by the people that serves as a protection from the shadow governments, which you can consider corporations, you can consider the state. If you are not going to help be a part of that government, the governmental system, that society that prevents prevailing evil from destroying the planet, then I think that argument kind of falls apart, doesn't it? Because that government is the only thing fighting that evil force. Even if the government isn't serving you completely, that government isn't there just to serve you. There is a foundational order that the government does provide. And without a government, by the people, for the people, whatever, what America is supposed to be founded upon. By the way, most revolutions in American history were because of a fear of a shadow government. Without that government in place and without people contributing to supporting that government and making that government stronger, then the shadow government, which is all the corporations, all the private interests we don't have a vote in, that would take over completely, and we'd end up with a bunch of feudal empires. Yet again, neo-feudalism. That's the same exact argument with all the ANCAP arguments or whatever. Like, the same thing happens over and over and over again throughout history. These power vacuums don't just disappear if we go off into the woods and pretend they're not real.
I disagree. I have 2 points. So the by the people, for the people, fucking whatever. Sorry. Those ideologies were set a long time ago, and I don't think they really apply to modern democratic
Well, just the government
debates.
by the people. So the government is like a vehicle for the people to work through as a vessel of power. That's what a government really is. A collective body coming together to rule on behalf of the people. I mean, in a democracy or a representative democracy.
Yeah, I agree. It's the people's will, and also literature, like moral literature. I think that for the most part, it applies to most people. But for the people that are on the fringes, like the ANCAPs, the ANCOMs, the fascies, the libertarian socialists, libertarians, I think that for the most part, the government really doesn't look out for us. And why should we have to subscribe to a government that doesn't agree with what we believe in? So just dip, don't pay taxes, like just do your own thing. Like I don't think
Well,
a
that's
government should have to
immoral then,
oppress
because
on
you're
you.
not gonna help fight for the common good. You're just gonna let the world. You're just saying you're laying down basically and saying the evil's gonna overcome, or the evil's gonna take over. I'm not gonna try to overcome this. I'm not gonna try to even play a hand in helping the society survive. All the other people in the society. I don't care about them. They're just gonna die. I'm gonna go live in the woods somewhere, which doesn't even work because I mean, if somebody wants to come take your land, they literally just can. There's no rules or state to back up any ownership of anything. So I don't know if you're just advocating for like a big game of like Rust or something or like Mad Max.
I think that there are legislations to prevent people from just like pulling up on you and taking your land. And also I don't think people are
But
really
if you're
doing
not part of
that.
society, then you're not going to be protected by those same protections. If you don't pay taxes, if you don't care about the governments, if you don't care about the social contract, if you don't care about any of this, then you don't have that protection. I could come take your house. You're not part of our society. The government can come seize your land. A corporation can come buy it out because you don't have any legal contract, anything. You don't have any state violence to protect your rights to that property. So what's the point? You can just be ripped off.
There is legislation to prevent corporations and especially the government from
But
taking
without
lands that
society,
you
how is
claim.
there legislation? You can't just leave society completely and then say, well, I do believe in society when it benefits me. Then you are admitting within that alone that society is worth it for you to maintain that structure. So you're arguing against yourself.
In the society that we live in,
Yeah.
there are like legal claims. I forget the particular term, but I believe it's between 3 and 6 years that you can claim legal right to land that is not claimed by anybody and has not been
But that
touched by
doesn't
anybody.
matter. That's given to you by what? It's not like a natural force of nature that gives you that right. What is that given to you
Yeah,
from?
it's given to us by the society that we live in, or the
Yeah,
not
but
the
you
society,
reject
the
that
society.
society.
I'm
So
sorry.
why? So you use the parts of society that you like, and you don't try to fight the parts that are evil. So you just kind of give up. But when it suits you, then you come back in it. You're like, "Yep, I want to use it again."
Yeah, so the whole idea of ANPRIM is that we're rejecting the society that we live in currently. And every aspect of the society that we live in currently
Not
is
every
not working
aspect,
towards us.
but you only want the okay.
Uh,
So you're only accepting the parts that do.
yeah, no, you agree that we have to like live in the society that we live in. We have to game the system in every way that we can, right?
Yeah, but there's a difference between gaming the system and just like shutting off the system, just
I,
like running away.
in my opinion, and this is totally anecdotal, and I don't know, there's not much of an argument here. And for anybody that's watching, like, there's not a whole lot of argument to be had here. But in my opinion, this is the ultimate gaming the system, where we use every aspect of the society that we live in to jettison ourselves from it, and then we have a portion of land that we gamed from the system that is now ours or yours. And I don't know. I think that's more anarchistic, more fight the power than anything that we could ever achieve
But
through
that wouldn't
Demsoc or
that
anything like that.
the part of the system that helps you wouldn't even be in place with your line of thought. If more people thought like that, we shouldn't even participate in the system. Nothing good would be in the system. So would you rather just nothing good be in the system whatsoever than to have a system? Like, would
I
you
mean,
rather?
absolutely not.
Because the system right
Uh,
now is flawed, but of course it's better than anarchy.
yeah, I mean, anarchists, like any anarchist will ever tell you, like I'm sorry, but this is like inarguable. Any anarchist that will ever tell you is that there are steps to true anarchy, but there are steps that we as individuals can take to be true individuals in the society, in a liberal society, that we can take. And I think that this is one of them.
But
Rejecting the system is
without a social
liberalism.
without a social system in place of any kind, without any type of structures or anything, then you're going to have a society so freaking overridden by hierarchies that are natural, that nothing even would be somewhat equal even within your ANPRIM society. Like with the social system we have right now, if you are disabled, you have a chance to work and be a productive member of society. In an ANPRIM society, if you are disabled, don't you literally just die because you can't do anything? And if you're
So
weak, you can't build a house. You're screwed. Or like we're just gonna be like, oh, we have a pact. We're gonna build each other houses, and we're just gonna trust. We're gonna have our non-aggression pacts.
This is no ableist. Like, I don't want to exclude anybody from any society at all.
But without this
And
society,
I
then
think
they are excluded essentially, because without this current system, they'll just be dead. They can't.
I'm sorry.
They can't
I
hunt.
wanted to clarify myself a little
you're
bit.
good.
I
No, you're
don't think that anarchism, and especially ANPRIM, just a complete and total reject of society, is obtainable on a national scale, just between any country. I think it's more so an individual choice that you make in the system that you believe in.
So you
or
don't
that you
think
live in, sorry,
ANPRIM
not
can
believe.
work? Okay, so you don't think ANPRIM
I
can
don't
actually
think
work,
that
but
ANPRIM
individually you think it's the best way to fight the power as like some type of like revolutionary gaming the system.
I mean, absolutely not. I don't think 350 million people can just run off into the woods because there's just not enough room for
But you're
that many
accepting
people.
that morality would be that your moral position is pretty low if you're going to abandon the rest of society, basically. But because if you're not in that fight, you're just kind of leaving it. So you're effectively owning the system by not pressuring the system. You're like, oh, I'll take the good parts of the system, but I'm not going to pressure it to be better. Like the system would love you. The thing that this current system hates is when people organize together within the system to change the system. They hate when there's people like the Justice Democrats and all that stuff trying to take over major political parties. That's what they hate. They love it when people do third parties. They love it when people go run off in the woods and build their houses and don't talk to anybody. That isn't owning the system. Owning the system is actually providing some rebuttal, providing some pressure back at the system, trying to change the system. What you want to do is giving the system a gift, giving the power holders in society a good gift. They don't have to worry about you anymore. You're just a guy. You think they care if you're going to live out there with your little 3-year contract? They don't give a shit. They'll be robbing the rest of society while you're not helping.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing for like everybody to go doing this shit because, like, sorry, not everybody can do this.
Oh, no, you can.
And I don't think I'm owning the system in any way. I think I'm rejecting the system. I think I'm gaming the system. I think I'm getting around all of the social contracts that I agreed to before I could even agree with them.
It'd be a good TV show.
I don't think I'm trying to like show the powers that be that I'm better than them. I think I'm trying to show the powers that be that I don't want to be a part of them, and I don't want to contribute to the system that brought them to power.
So you're gonna help them instead, because you're by participating in society and pushing against their influence, you aren't like participating in their system. You're being deviant while being within it. Like,
yes, I think deviance is.
But aren't you
deviance
helping them by
nonetheless.
leaving?
Perhaps, but I'm not.
So you're helping them.
Perhaps the ethical argument that I'm challenging the powers that be is probably not the greatest one, and I'll concede that. I just think that they're not the powers that be, the governmental figures, the landlords, literally everyone, society in general, probably isn't working out the best for every single person. And I think that ANPRIM is a solution for some people, not for everybody. Again, like, some people cannot physically survive the system. But
I think being a landlord would be a better moral position than being an ANPRIM, honestly. If you're a landlord that is going to occupy that space and charge less than other landlords, you are helping people more than you're actually directly helping people within a system. You're being part of the system, of course, but just washing your hands clean of it. This is what I think about, like, all this stuff. Like, if you don't vote for Biden or Trump or anything, like, washing your hands of any action. Inaction is action. So, like, if you're not, like, honestly, landlords that charge the lowest prices in the city and are great to their tenants, those are 100 miles better than ANPRIM people who want to go and just live in their little wood cabins and be in their wannabe, like, the forest, Mad Max, a naked and afraid survival, Bear Grylls hunting guide, or whatever the hell they want to do. I'd rather landlords.
I mean, that's a little bit of a straw man, but also that is like completely reasonable
was
because
just
I'm
fun.
advocating for like some really whack.
No, that was a
stuff.
straw man. That was just fun to say.
Yeah, no, you're cool. I just think that I don't think it's more moral to be subjugating other people. I don't think it's more moral to be literally oppressing people for their money than it is to reject the system. I don't know. I don't think.
Oh,
That's a fair argument.
what if you're okay? If you weren't a landlord though, and another person say that there is a group of houses that you can buy, I guess, and it's between you and another landlord, and you have a choice to either buy that house or go and live your ANPRIM lifestyle. But the thing is, if the other landlord buys that house, they're gonna charge $12,000 rent per month. They're not going to give a shit about the tenants. They're not going to even take care of anything. If a pipe bursts, oh shit, we'll send over a crappy repair guy. Maybe he'll fix it. Maybe he won't. You'll have this issue all the time. They'll be shitty. But if you become the landlord of that house, then you can charge half the price. You can take care of the people living there, and you can provide a better foundation for those people to live than the other person. You are helping by participating in that system because you are the more moral actor in that. And if you choose the route of inaction, you are directly contributing to the suffering of the people forced to live in that house because you are not the person owning that house. I think that is a argument we could sort of consider.
I think you are entirely correct. I think somebody that is providing housing at a more affordable cost, at better standard of living than just skipping off into the woods, is absolutely more moral standpoint. Sorry, but again, like I'm not advocating this for everybody. I'm advocating for people that are completely dejected by the system, jobless, homeless, and sorry, I probably should have articulated this at the beginning of the discussion, but I just think that the society is not the society. Sorry, Joker moment. The aristocracy, the landlordship, the I don't know, just aristocracy in general. I don't know, just a better way to articulate that. I don't think that's for everybody, and I don't think everybody has the moral standpoint to become an aristocrat, and I don't think that those people, us, should be considered in that society that doesn't consider them.
I guess if you're literally not an actor whatsoever and you want to go live in the woods, that's not exactly.
Yes, that's what I'm advocating for. Like, just
if you literally
you
just
are
if you're literally
the pawniest of the pawns, and you can physically survive on your own. You can claim your own claim and do your own thing. I think that you shouldn't be restricted by the government to not be able to do that.
Sure, you shouldn't be restricted, but but without paying taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, and not being restricted to
property,
certain land claims.
And that's where it gets kind of sketchy. Well,
sketchy in the eyes of the law.
Well, I mean, when it comes to like, you're still on if you're on what's considered public or private property, you want an exemption for people who want to go live in the woods, essentially.
There's no public property. Society. At least in America, there's no public property.
Well, if you live in
it's a national, public property is in major quotations because the only public property is owned by the government.
What if you live in a state forest? I don't know. Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean public. By public, they do conflate that a lot. I shouldn't conflate that. Public and government owned. It is different. But yeah, I think we pretty much exhausted this. This conversation.
I know. It's a hard pill to swallow, and I'm not trying to pill anybody in the audience, and I'm not trying to pill you by any means because you're pretty firm in your beliefs. But I just wanted to. I just want to advocate that there are other options out there, and again, those options aren't for everybody, and they aren't for 90% of the U.S. population. But you all are sheep. You can do it.
Okay, well, just one thing. So if you want to opt out of society, does that mean? Okay, so you opt out of society, you don't pay taxes, you want to go live off the woods and hunt and gather and build your little shelter and stuff, like you're playing the game The Forest. That's I like
In the
that game,
same
by the
way
way.
that Americans have done for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, but should you then, if you get injured, since you opted out of society, if you fall and break all the bones in your body, so you're like that one person in SpongeBob that broke, the person when they're selling cookies and stuff.
Yeah,
and he's
no,
like
I know
wrapped
what
up,
you're
he's
talking
like,
about, yeah.
he's like, my bones are made
Glass
of glass
bones
or
and
whatever.
paper skin. Yeah,
Paper skin. You become that person. You should be denied medical care because you are not in a society anymore.
I think that's totally reasonable. But if you have the capital, if you produce capital in the sense of like the society that we live in, like you have deer skin and you have jerky, and I don't know, you collect pine cones. If you can sell that off and that can pay for your medical bills, I think you should be welcomed in the society that you choose to participate in.
Well,
like that is a choice. Like I'm advocating for choice.
I guess you have a choice that, I mean, is it really a choice if it's like, if the probability of it being successful is like 1 in, I guess it is still a choice if the probability is like less than like that dream guy cheating in Minecraft. But
well, I mean, what choice do you have if you fall out of a 30-story building and your
pine cones? I like
and your job and your job doesn't your job doesn't give you healthcare, and it doesn't pay enough for you to have your procedures. Like, I don't know, what's the difference to me?
Would pine cones be your form of currency in an ANPRIM society?
No.
Wait.
Well, I mean, if you have other ANPRIMs in the general region and you're trying to like hunter gather and they accept that as a form of currency, like money is no different than pine cones. The only difference is there's more people that accept it. But also no, because pine cones aren't worth anything.
All right. Well, I mean, worth is determined by the society, but okay.
Yeah.
But okay. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. And I look forward to calling in the future, man.
Yes, I love it. All right. All right, goodbye.
All right, catch you later.
Have a good one.
Come, tribe, let us make fire. Phone, bad, make, mad, make, mad, make. Me no silly technocratic life, very healthy. Me would rather run free than serve the needs of the wealthy. Me no watch your factories that squeeze me to capital knees, kill the birds and all the bees. Me would rather flee to trees.